This is a podcast about both having autism and living with someone who has autism. My mom is Sonya, and I'm Josh, and this is Josh Has Autism.
Hey everybody, welcome to Josh Has Autism.
Hello.
So last time that we were doing the podcast, at the end of it we got the storm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And we had to leave here because we're right by a window and the hail.
And I couldn't focus on what
I
don't even really remember what we were talking about at this point. Just because I know I got distracted by that, but I don't remember what it was actually about.
Yeah, it was about your senses. Like, were they the same now as an adult as when you were a kid? And
okay.
That storm, though, when it started, like halfway through, you kind of drifted. And because where you're sitting, you see a giant tree next to the house. And it was kind of, it's one that usually doesn't move. And it was so moving.
It was. I'm remembering it more. I was like, is that hail? Because there was occasionally hail coming down. Then all of a sudden, whoosh.
Yep. And
I'm moving both my hands in the same direction. Because that's what the tree looked like it did with all the branches and leaves and everything. Yeah. It just, like someone had moved a curtain.
Yeah. And it was a bad storm, and we had tornado warnings. And
the difference between the two, between a watch and a warning, for me, it took me forever to actually get this. A warning is like, hey, this might happen, so just so you know, it's a warning. Things are right for it to happen. Wait, did I just...
I think those are backwards.
Watch out for this.
Yes.
Warning, hey, this is happening nearby.
It's happened.
Yeah.
It's happened nearby, and, watch out where you...
Yeah.
So...
That's why I get confused.
Me too. Me too. But, and we lived in Florida for 5 years on the Panhandle.
Yeah.
So we were, I remember one time having to go into the little tiny bathroom. We all went in there, including all of the dogs. And Stella, the pit bull, farted when we're all in the...
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember that? We're like,
yes.
Stella! I'm sure she thought that was hysterical, but it was like, oh, come on, Stella. We couldn't go out of the bathroom either. We're all piled in there, and she did that. I was like, oh, man. So, anyway, we had to stop because of that, and some roads were closed. The streets were just littered with all kinds of branches, and some trees fell over, but not on our street.
Yeah.
And fortunately, there was no damage done that I know of anyway by a tornado, but the winds were really strong.
Right.
Thunder, lightning. It was pretty intense. When it rattles the whole house.
Yeah.
That's what it was doing.
Not to mention the hail.
Yeah, the hail. Right, we don't usually get that, but yeah. So we did.
Especially considering it was 75, 80 degrees out.
Yeah,
right before the storm.
Yeah, it was in the mid 80s.
Yeah,
I believe. So anyway, everybody's okay, everybody's safe. But we did kind of end abruptly last time.
Yeah. So
for a good reason. But I wanted to talk to you about this last week. It was about sensory issues, like how that's different from when you were a kid to now.
Mm-hmm.
If it's textures or what it is that really irritates you still.
Right.
Something else that kind of felt like it was along those lines is that advertisers will embellish, stretch the truth, and sometimes just lie.
Yeah.
Which they shouldn't be allowed to do that.
They're technically not allowed to.
Yeah, they should not be allowed to do that. But they come up with all kinds of strategies to get people to buy their product.
Mm-hmm.
They have, they use psychological
responses.
Yes, to figure out what works with people, what gets their attention. And something that I thought about, this wasn't connected to last week's, but it kind of is in the same vein anyway,
Right.
with how you experience something. But I came across an article about this, and it was really interesting. The advertisement is called "Why Advertising Falls Flat in Individuals with Autism." And
the article or the...
It's an article.
Okay, I thought you said advertisement.
Oh, did I say I might have said that because it says why advertising falls flat in individuals with autism.
Right.
So it is an article from it was I can't pronounce his name. I want to give credit. He's a doctor's Sadowik, I think.
Yeah.
But anyways, what he found out is that the way that they get to people and get them to buy the things that they want them to buy are through packaging and through colors and through words. And one of the things they said was like, silky would be, it's like they want to trigger a second sense. So that if you see something on there and it looks real velvety,
yeah,
then it's almost like you can taste it because it's just like delicious chocolate. Okay. Right? This velvety chocolate that's just like being poured and it's just, just like delicious. Yeah. So they rely on that. They rely on the second sense to kick in to really get people to buy their product or use their product.
The subconscious response.
Yes. Well, he didn't say it was a subconscious. I agree with you completely.
Yeah, it's a subconscious response to influence the conscious response.
Yes. They're calling it the second senses, but I agree with you. We're talking about the same thing. They just say it in a different way. But what's interesting to me about it is that before I even read this, I knew this about you. That you like something because you like it, not because of what somebody else says. And if you don't like something, it doesn't matter what somebody else says. You're not going to like it.
Right.
But there was a test that they did. Let's see if this makes sense. I'm going to read a portion of this article, so I want to make sure this isn't. That doctor put this in Psychology Today. That's where I'm reading it from. So they say that to test whether having autism affects rational decision-making, researchers offered participants, which that's different. Right off the bat, I just want you to know. Decision-making, now, I'm just taking a paragraph. They're talking specifically about decision-making and what products to buy.
Okay.
Not in general.
Okay.
So researchers offered participants with and without autism 3 versions of the same object, told them only 2 things about each, and asked them to choose which to buy. 2 of the objects had legitimate advantages over the other. The third existed only to make one of those 2 products more appealing. So rationally, the inferior, I'm doing quotes here, decoy should have been ignored. And this next paragraph is fascinating, and this is what, remember how we've said so many times before, Josh, like, because you have a really good sense of humor now, and you have looked at me so many times and said the words, and I have the disability. And I always think that's funny because, that's true. Like you've got things like so clear to you sometimes,
that are clearly muddled for you.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So here we go. Here's the paragraph that's going to describe that. For instance, imagine 3 USB drives. Drive A has a large capacity but a relatively short lifespan. Drive B has a smaller capacity and a longer lifespan. The decoy, drive C, has a middling capacity and shorter lifespan than either. A or B, then either A or B. Sorry, I said that wrong. Okay, either A or B. Objectively, drive C should be ignored. But instead, the data revealed that people without autism are typically distracted by the decoy object and would switch which USB drive they preferred depending on whether or not the decoy was shown. Those with autism made more rational and consistent choices. Meaning that given rational information, let's say this thing, this device anyway, has two things that work better than the other.
Mm-hmm.
One, not so much. The third, you don't want it. It's less effective and doesn't last as long.
Right. The way that I'm seeing that of what you just read,
Mm-hmm.
the third one, or decoy, or whatever
Mm-hmm.
you want to call it, is a lesser version of one of the two products, which I'm guessing is what pushes that one that it's a lesser of. Is that what it's saying?
That they didn't expand on that, but that's exactly what I thought, and I was about to ask you about that.
Because logically, that means that they were trying to show that there is an influence towards one of the two actual products.
What they just said. So listen to this. The final paragraph here. Conventional economic theory considers consistency of choice normative, but the researchers' most significant finding was that reduced context sensitivity demonstrates that autism is not, quotes, not entirely a disability.
In quotes?
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah. Autistic cognition might be more complex and less defining of an individual than previously thought. I really like this article because it describes, sometimes, like, you know, we do this podcast and we speak freely and we are open, and I particularly am open to say, look, Josh, you're the genius. You know, yes, we say, you know, that you have autism, yet you teach me every single day. Make me crazy every single day, almost, but, you know, and I'm just trying to keep up with you.
Yeah, I think that there's a quote from, what was the movie, Taken, that I have a particular set of skills.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, the thing is that you and I, we do this. I say things that, you know, hopefully I don't offend people, but I just have conversations with you. I'm not, you know, trying to impress anybody. We're just having conversations. And a lot of times I think that really shows how the things that have been put in print and have been spoken about, that somebody with autism is less than, is the thing that we're saying. You're shaking your head no because you know that's not true.
Right.
Yes.
That's
and
great.
I know that's not true.
Right.
And so I like it when I'm reading an
official
article.
Source. Yeah.
Yes, I like it when I'm reading an article and they
legitimize.
Yeah, this person actually sees it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And so they did these studies on it, and I thought, wow, that is really you. That is really you, in that there's one thing that would drive you, the only thing that would drive you, I think, to make a choice that maybe I'll just say it first. Your favorite color is teal.
Blue-green, but
Blue-green.
yes.
Okay, blue-green.
Which, as a side note, blue-green is only officially a color here in the U.S.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Apparently, the color wheel that we learn in schools
Mm-hmm.
is not really applied outside of the U.S.
How do you know that?
I have artist friends outside of the U.S.
Oh.
And I've brought up the color, like, what color is that? Is it blue? Is it green? It's on the color wheel. What's the color wheel?
Oh. And they say that they don't have a color wheel.
Yeah.
They never heard of it.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you remember what country?
That particular one, or the one that sticks out in my mind the most, was England. Yeah.
I've never even thought about it, so I don't even know. I just thought it was a thing,
Yeah.
that everybody knew about. Because when we were in elementary school, We're taught about colors.
Yeah.
You know, I know Connor and Madison talk about the color wheel right now.
Yeah, and that's not used outside of our school systems.
It's interesting. They use it, so they've learned this color wheel, and they have...
the primary colors?
Well, I was going to say Play-Doh.
Oh, yeah.
They have Play-Doh. They have colored sand. And then they have the thing that grosses me out more than anything else, and they always trick me. They say, I know what they're doing, but it's slime.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and I can't stand the feel of it. It's so gross to me. And they always think that they're just tricking me so bad, because they say, Gammy, close your eyes and hold out your hand. And it's mostly Connor, and he's going to do one of two things. Two things that I just don't ever want to touch. Slime and a snake.
Yeah.
Well, he has this little robotic snake, and I will hold out my hand sometimes, thinking I'm going to get slime, and he'll lay that snake in my hand, and it doesn't freak me out because it's not real.
Right.
But I toss it and act like like I'm freaked out.
Because if it was, you definitely would be.
I would be.
Yeah.
I would be, and I love all animals. Look, today there was a bug in the house.
You got a piece of paper and picked it up with it. Well, you didn't pick it up. You had it crawl onto it.
On a piece of paper.
And then brought it outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't like killing things.
Right.
And so, yeah. I mean, look, a snake's never done anything to me. Although, do you remember getting bit by a snake?
Yeah, I was just about to say, you had one bite your son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, yeah, that story, real quick, is a little detour. We lived in Florida twice. This time was right after you were born, and Dad, he was in the military, and he had to be the recruiter there. And so we lived in Marianna, Florida. And we were outside, and you said to me, it bit me. And I said, what bit you? And you said, the snake bit me. And you stepped on it. You squashed it. It bit you and you squashed it.
Yeah.
But I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I took you to the hospital.
Yeah.
And the hospital...
Because I was like, what, not even 2?
Not even 2.
Yeah.
And I was out there with you. We were in the carport.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about getting the snake. I just know,
Yeah.
I saw it. It was squished.
Yeah.
And it was a snake. It was little.
Yeah.
So I took you to the hospital, and your dad rushed to the hospital, and they said, what kind of snake is it? I said it was orange and black, and they go, which was prominent? was it orange and black, or was it black?
Was it orange and black, or was it red, yellow, black, and white?
Yeah, to me it was orange, but might have been red, but it was...
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. So, anyway, your dad went and got the snake, and then we were waiting, and I didn't think about it because I was, focused on you. And they call the doctor comes in, and they said, "And do you have the snake?" And your dad goes, "Oh yeah." He reaches in his pocket and pulls the snake out of his pocket.
It was in an empty cigarette pack.
Yes.
That was in the shirt pocket.
Yes, he had put it in an empty cigarette pack. Not a cigarette pack, the clear wrap that comes around a cigarette pack.
Okay.
And so he pulls it out, and there's this squished snake. But anyway, yeah, that's the...
Yeah.
I've never... But I think that it comes from Nana. She was petrified of snakes.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know, I mean...
Yeah.
I don't want to hurt one.
Right.
I also don't want to live with one.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's the snake story. That's the closest we've come to that. So what was I talking about? Oh, the color wheel.
Yes.
I don't know how we got into the snake. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, because of the color wheel, because Connor will put a snake in my hand.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, okay. Whoa! Took us off. Yeah. So anyway, they've learned this color wheel, and I know that because he and Madison talk about mixing the colors and how if they put these together, It just makes brown.
Yes. Yes, because which happens with all Play-Doh and everything like that eventually.
Yeah, if you squish it all together, it's going to just be as brown.
Yeah.
That's it. Not even a nice brown. It's kind of ugly. But, yeah. So...
if it doesn't dry out by the time that it gets that color.
Yeah. Right. You have to put the... Now they have Play-Doh that you twist it and it grows hair. Yeah. And the other one, there's this little, they have one that, have you ever heard the, what you call it, it's not lamb, where they have one that they push it down and it goes,
no, I didn't know about
so
that.
all the time, they keep doing, so they're on the dining room table, doing the Play-Doh, and all day I hear this, meh, all day long.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is the primary and secondary colors.
Mm-hmm.
They have those kind of things. But the tertiary, which is the in-between of those two, aren't counted like that. They aren't, it's not even considered as a wheel. It's just, yeah.
So your favorite color is what I always think of as teal. You say it's blue-green, and there is a difference.
There is.
Yours is softer, I think. Teal is like something that pops.
Same as cyan is another one that's also pops. Like here in the U.S., we have two different football teams that have colors that are similar, but one is more towards blue-green, the other one is more towards a teal, and that is both in Florida actually. One of them is the Miami Dolphins, has a teal color as one of their colors. And the other is the Jacksonville Jaguars, which has an almost blue-green color. And by the way, my favorite football team is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Right. Which brings me back to what I was about to say, is that you gravitate towards this color in all kinds of things. So I've been out with you, and you go, oh, look at this, I like this. And I know that what you like about it is the color.
Yes.
That sometimes I can look at it and the functionality of the thing is not what you need.
Right.
But it is your favorite color.
Yes.
So you will be drawn to that.
Yes. And it's, even I understand that a lot of the things that have that color on it are not things that I would ever use or anything like that. Or they could just be not good products. Right. And I understand that. It's the color I like, yes.
So there's a couple of things that I wanted to say about this. So we read the article, and basically what it's saying is that they've done, well, the part that I didn't read is that they've done all kinds of research.
The part that you didn't read.
they've done tests with groups, with people that come in and volunteer, or they get paid. They don't really volunteer; they get paid for doing this, and then they base their information on that. Did this work or did that work? Hey, if we use this word, that's not very appealing to people, but if we use this word, it works better.
It's a case study.
And if we not sort of, I don't think it's not called a case study.
What is it called whenever it's for a product?
I know I can't think of what it is that I'm thinking about, but it's it might come to me because I know what it is, but it's not a case study per se. But anyway, so they have people that give their feedback. Sometimes, just like on a movie, they'll do a screenplay. It'll be they'll have an audience before it's released, to get the feedback to see, what's appealing. If people thought it was good, was it funny, was it, moving in some way. But so they did all of that. They do all of that, and people will be swayed oftentimes by the words that are used, or the like I said, this brown velvety kind of stuff on the screen and the words put with it make somebody go, oh, that looks really good. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to go get a sundae. And that's their intention.
Yeah.
But what this article is saying is something that I know about you, but this article is saying about kind of overall. You and I are always careful not to say, like, to put on mass judgments, right? Or definitions, because everybody's an individual.
Right.
But what they found is that people with autism don't get swayed the way that people that do not have autism are by advertisements.
Right.
And it's like you just said, is that you're able to see the connection in a different way than most people see it. Right. And it's interesting to me too, because basically what they're saying is you've got A that does this, B that does this, C that's really a piece of junk.
But is meant to emphasize how much better one of those other two are compared to the other.
No, that's how you see it. And that's a good way to see it. What people are doing now is they're influenced by, why is this one here? It's like, so then they can make poor decisions because they're given too many options, and it's sort of like, why are they drawn to this one? Why are they influenced by that one?
Right. It makes them question themselves.
Exactly. Which doesn't happen to you in this particular part of your life.
Right.
When you see value in something, there's, like I said, it's very difficult to get you to see it from a different point of view. And if you don't want to try something, if you don't like it, I can just forget it. It doesn't matter. I can talk to you. I can come up with all kinds of, ways that the psychologist there is describing in that trying to influence you.
Yes.
And it's not going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
And a good everyday thing from growing up that I can give an example for with this is you while I was growing up had me try foods. Not even if it didn't really look appealing, you said try at least a bite of it. And that's because I want for you to know if you actually do like this or not. Mm-hmm. If you don't, okay, we know that for the future. Mm-hmm. But I want for you to try it and really think about if you like it or not.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And you also explained to me that taste can change over time. Mm-hmm. So if I don't like something now, it doesn't mean that several years from now I still won't like it. Mm-hmm. To give it a try later on like that, and see if your tastes have changed. That's a logical explanation to me. Mm-hmm. And go ahead.
I would also have something there for you to drink that you really liked.
Yes.
So if you didn't like the taste of it,
I could rinse it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rinse the taste out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just to get you through it faster in case you didn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and then so you've become a person that tries different kinds of food. You're eager to try something brand new that you've never had.
And a lot of times it is something brand new to me. Mm-hmm. Or at least it was, because at this point I've had so many different kinds of foods.
Right. Well, something that I wanted to say too is that we were talking about the advertisers, how they put things, and that comes in ads. Mm-hmm. There's billboards all over when you're on the roads now.
Yeah.
These days, and they're moving, which is always so weird to me. Like they emphasize keep your eyes on the road. Well, then stop making this Yeah,
this advertisement they'll change on you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's vibrant colors and
it sometimes is TVs even.
You know, one of the times that when I was driving through Atlanta.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm. It was so bright, so many different advertisements going on at the same time, so many different bulletin boards, and they were the kind that were an actual screen that was changing, moving parts, doing so it is just like a TV that's up there. It was so vibrant, and all at the same time. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was difficult to drive because there were so many
distractions.
Yeah. But when we get bombarded with advertisements,
mm-hmm.
there are commercials on TV,
on the radio, or
absolutely. A lot of times when I'll watch a show with Connor, and he doesn't quite understand about a commercial.
Mm-hmm.
He just wants to know, what did they do with my show?
Yes.
I said, well, it's called a commercial, and it's just a little break, and the show that you're watching will be right back on.
Yeah.
But it's funny because, I just got it's a commercial. I know what that is, but it's funny to be reminded that, this is just an absolute interruption.
It is.
Yeah.
The commercials on when the news comes on.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Same ones.
Not just that, but it's like the news comes on for like 30 seconds, and then it's 5 minutes of commercials. Then it's on for a minute. Then it's another 7 minutes of commercials.
And if you watch, the next time you watch the news, pay attention to the commercials, because there's a lot of them telling us what's wrong with us. And why we should take medications.
Or sue someone or whatever.
Yeah, that take this medication that then is going to create 10 other problems.
Oh my gosh. Listening to some of these things with the side effects.
Yes.
It's like, really? Why would I take this in the first place if it has all these different issues that could be caused because of the medication?
Right. Or those that say, have you or a loved one died? Because call us, we can. What? Okay.
There's also other what was that called? Psychological responses for advertisements that have had studies done for them and everything, like repeating something 3 times in a commercial.
Oh yes.
Is the prime number to,
mm-hmm.
That's a math joke without even realizing it,
yeah.
Is the prime number to have someone actually remember what that repeated thing says.
Mm-hmm. And there's subtle messages, subliminal messages.
Yeah.
And so we are bombarded with that kind of stuff. But the thing that I wanted to say about it is, in whatever form, you get very upset when what a company is saying their product will do, it doesn't do.
Right.
That is something that's very difficult for you to get past, because you want to know, well, how do they get to say that when that's not what happens?
Right. And my toothpaste
mm-hmm.
has a little thing written on the front of it. It says cleans up to 30%, get up to 30% whiter teeth after just one use. It's technically true, because and the reason they can get away with having that printed on the toothpaste, up to.
Mm.
It's the wording that they use.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be really frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are times where it's not as clear cut of a reason for them to be able to get away with what they say or do.
Yes, and they do it in such a way that is like you're saying, that they can get away with it, but it it's not really the accurate fact about the product.
Right.
But I know that really bothers you, because for you, when somebody says something, it's what it should be. It's what it should do.
Yeah.
They should have to follow through and come through with what they just said was going to happen. You know?
Yeah.
Like they have this spray stuff now. I saw this advertisement for this the spray that you just spray on and you just wipe it off. You don't have to scrub it or anything, and it takes gunk off. It takes gunk off of things. So you know the pots and pans, like the skillets and stuff underneath, they can get discolored and I was interested in this advertisement. It got my attention because that's what I was looking for, something that was going to clean those things up. Until, I don't know what made them do this, only I think it was in a country that we don't live in, and maybe that's the process there, but certainly not here. So when I saw it, I was like, ew, because she did it, she put the stuff on the skillet and wiped it off, and it came off, but she was doing it over the toilet. And I thought, I don't want that product now. So in other countries, they do things differently than we do here in the United States. So it's just not something that I'm accustomed to.
Right.
And I'm like, something that you eat off of doesn't belong in the bathroom. You know. And so that was just kind of, I thought it was gross.
Right.
But
and it pushed the product away from...
Yes.
Yeah.
And it had the absolute unintended response.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that's probably in an area where that's,
right.
Okay and accepted. But it's not in this house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so there they do things. They try to, anything.
There's one that was a joke product from a movie. It was Anchorman or something like that. It was for a cologne or something like that. Works 60% of the time, 100% of the time. And it was interesting because it's technically true. Because 100% of the time, it works as the 60% of the time.
Right. That's funny.
Yeah. And
that's funny to me.
So it's strange, but it's technically correct.
Mm-hmm. Well, it made me think of this too. So advertising, the way that it works on, let's say, me, for example, they're going to try to sway me with all kinds of, like I say, the words that they're using and the graphics that they're using. And for you, it's got to be quantified. You're not going to just be swayed in the emotions that they try to bring up in an advertisement.
Right.
You can look at it from a point of view is that it says it will do that, but that's all that you see. You don't get tangled up in the emotions of what they're trying to push on us with any given product.
Right.
It's the facts, and that's...
and do I need it for what I want it for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the part that bothers you is that if it says it does something, and it's right on the bottle, let's just say it's the bathroom cleaner on the shower walls.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just supposed to clean it again, it's a different product than what I just said.
Right.
But oftentimes they'll say, no scrubbing, it just,
Yeah.
Well, if you bought that and then you had to go in there and scrub because it didn't do that,
right,
you're upset because it didn't do what they said it was going to do.
Right.
So then for you, it's like, why do they get to say that when that's not what this does?
Right.
But for a lot of times they will make something excuse me, have the emotions, or they show men that are bald excuse me, men that are bald, and then they'll show that same guy with a full head of hair and now he's having fun. Right?
Yeah.
Like, as if hair... I mean, it could be something that if somebody's losing their hair, they feel bad about that.
Right.
But that advertisement doesn't work for me because I don't care if somebody has hair or not. Right? It doesn't one way or another to me.
Right.
So that doesn't reach me, but for a different reason. It's because it doesn't affect me.
Mm.
But for you, it's different. You don't get drawn in by the emotion or the stories that they're trying to tell you. Does it bother you? There's this one Sarah McLachlan about the
Arms of the Angel.
Yeah.
What
the
we hear in
animals
the background.
Yeah.
I don't like seeing that commercial.
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult for me to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also very manipulative.
Yes.
It honestly, when I hear that song on the radio now, I'm like, I want to turn it away because I don't want to
think.
I don't want to consider all those animals that may.
Well, right, exactly, and so.
And it's not that I don't care about them.
No. My point is just the opposite. So what I'm trying to make is a contrast here that on products that you're going to buy,
mm-hmm.
that you're going to use around the house or on your vehicle or clothes or shoes or any products, toothpaste, whatever it is, that doesn't reach you emotionally. But you are a very sensitive person, and they put, that advertisement is difficult for a lot of people. But for you, because you love animals, you want every one of them to be safe and feel loved and to be happy.
Yeah.
And when I see them, and I see them a little dog behind a fence, shaking and looking sad, I think, why are you just standing there taking video of them? Why don't you just pick them up?
Yeah.
And make sure that they've got enough to eat. So when you say manipulative, I agree with you completely.
Yeah. And it's more so than that. I don't like being told to do something.
Me either.
Not in the sense of go clean your room.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't like being manipulated.
Yeah, I don't like being told to do something without... It's it's almost threatening in a way.
Yeah, well, it's their agenda, and they use that to try to get people to take action.
Yeah, but I mean threatening in the sense that you should do this, because if you don't, these beings will suffer.
Mm-hmm.
That's
a lot of pressure, and it doesn't feel good, and
it's not right.
It's not right. No,
I mean,
I agree
you can raise awareness for stuff like that.
Yes.
Without.
Well, then you get a bag that says that on the side of it, or a shirt that says, I don't want that.
No.
You know what I do? I donate to rescues.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I donate to rescues where I know, there's been pups that have been, have to have surgery.
Yeah.
And I can donate directly to that vet's office, to that particular animal to help that rescue
and
pay for that.
And the money's actually going to be used for that.
Yes.
Instead of to print something on a t-shirt and then mail it out to someone.
Right. You are thinking the exact same thing I am. Save the money on the t-shirt and on the bag.
Put it towards the animals.
Yeah.
Especially in that regard. But yeah.
Now, I don't begrudge anybody that has helped them.
Right.
Because, it's a moving commercial.
And it's a good reason.
Yeah.
But does it all go to that? And maybe not as much as you'd want, because they're having to advertise it how often?
Yeah.
It's just...
Well, that's another thing I think of. if you didn't do this commercial, you could have used all that money for the animals.
Yeah.
So that is one commercial that really makes me crazy, and I bring it up because that is the one commercial that reaches you in a way that others don't, because you care about animals so much.
And it's trying to blackmail me. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
And so I don't like that. Yeah.
So
but then there's also other commercials that are very short and to the point. And a lot of times I have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, right.
Perfect example was one from a little bit ago. Head-on, apply directly to the forehead. They repeat it 3 times.
Right. Head-on.
And that's the commercial.
Yeah.
Head-on, found at your local stores. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no... I don't even know... I never even knew if that was the actual product name or if that was just a slogan for it or anything. And it's like, what the heck?
Right.
And it's one of those ones where it's so bad it's good.
Because you remembered it.
Yes,
you know the name of it.
And it makes you... And it doesn't give enough information, so it makes you curious to find out more about it.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah, apparently it's some sort of headache relief medicine that it's like a roller thing that you apply directly to the forehead.
Oh, like you just roll it across. Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Huh. Yeah. So that was a bad commercial, but it was good because you remembered it.
Yeah, I mean it did what a commercial is supposed to do: catch your interest and make you look into it.
Mm-hmm. That's the stuff that resonates with you, even though you didn't get it. You got it because you took the steps to find out what it was.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that the people that are in advertising spend an awful lot of time conjuring up the emotions of people to get them to take action.
Yeah.
So their commercials give you the impression that if you use their product or their service, your life is going to be better. You're going to feel better. You're going to look better. People are going to like you more. You're going to fit in. You're going to, all these things that they're presuming that we want to be.
Right.
When you look at that, that's not something that really reaches you because it just doesn't. That's not how your brain works. That's not who you are. And what you just said was a perfect example of that. The commercial that came on and said the facts over and over, the message, that's it, that's what they want you to hear. You remembered that because it was, like you say, short and sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like this article that, like I say, that I found because it's describing the thing that I've known you to be for a very, very long time, and that is someone that's not swayed by popular opinion. It doesn't tug on your emotions and get you to take action to do something. What resonates more with you is just like in conversations that you have, you want them to be very direct and don't hint at something, but to be very clear and straightforward.
Yeah.
And so go back to the one where there's chocolate, right? Well, that's not going to appeal to you the way that if they just said, if you like chocolate, this is what the commercial is.
Yeah.
If you like chocolate that's smooth and delicious, we have it.
Yeah.
That resonates more with you than somebody trying to be almost the way I've always thought that. I don't know. I've never asked you about this, but almost like they're being sneaky, like they're trying to get you to do something or take action or to feel something that you don't want to.
Right.
Is that correct? That's my impression. That's how you would feel about stuff.
Yeah. That's fairly accurate. With that said, some of those commercials, at this point in my life, especially, I can see them and I can be exasperated by how ridiculous they are.
Right.
Like from an outside point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And I can laugh at those kind of things.
Mm-hmm. And also, it's
annoying, but yeah.
Yeah. You don't even watch TV, though.
I really don't.
No.
I mean, the news is probably what's on the most here whenever the kids aren't here, or movies, but whenever it's actual TV and not like a streaming service, it's typically the news.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like seeing that.
No.
Not because of all the commercials, not because of things like that, but because they focus on the negative. Because the negative is what sells the news.
Yep. And we have stopped watching other than the nightly news.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time,
mm-hmm.
when something's gone on, a lot of times if there's been, especially lately, we've been having the Weather Channel on.
Yeah.
But, and we mostly watch the streaming channels.
Yeah. Not even TV. Just the streaming things for like movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so if you've seen those lately, that's not, you don't even have TV in your space.
Right.
You don't even, I could tell you the names of TV shows, you might have heard of them, but chances are you've never seen them. Because you just don't watch it. Occasionally, you watched a movie the other night with RJ.
Yeah.
That's the first time you've watched anything on TV in a long time.
It was also a D&D movie.
Yeah, D&D. So. I remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
What's it called? Is that what it is?
It was Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
Oh.
Yeah. And it was a really good movie. It followed a lot of the lore from the games.
I asked him if it would be okay with for the kids, and he thought about it, and he goes, no, there's some language in there that they shouldn't hear, so probably not. But they did. That was what he said. He didn't say that it was the content was inappropriate, but it was the language.
Right.
Yeah. So, right. So you don't even watch it.
Right.
But still, there's advertisements everywhere.
There is. You could be driving down the road.
Yeah.
And if you have the radio on, there will be an advertisement.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going down the street, even the street signs, not street signs, but like Pizza Hut, for example, their sign is on a pole out front of their building.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of places like that will also have a little thing they can put up little announcements underneath of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the advertisement.
Right.
Not just that, but even if there wasn't that little sign there was just their emblem on a pole, that's still advertisement saying, hey, we're here.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's everywhere.
And you see everything. So, which is again, we've talked about that so many times, that you take in more information, which is, that's just how my perception is of you anyway, which is that not that you have a disability, but that you're constantly taking in so much information that it gets overwhelming.
Yeah.
And so when we say, quotes again, shutting down, it's my version of saying I'm full. I have a good friend of mine. One of my best friends is a doctor of Chinese medicine.
Mm-hmm.
She's brilliant, and she will talk to me, and it gets to a point where I just have to say I'm full. I'm full.
Yeah. Which you've even I've heard you mention that before, and you've said to me that you actually took that phrase of "I'm full" from our interactions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I just can't take in anymore.
Right.
And yeah, so I know it is different,
mm-hmm.
but that's just what I think about you, is that you get up in the morning, and before you get out of bed, you're already thinking about patterns, you're thinking about, your brain is already, computed so many things before you ever even put your feet on the floor. So,
Yeah.
and then to be in a world where there's just everywhere you turn, there are people trying to get your money or your attention or your time.
Yeah.
And, it could be exhausting. And I've never really thought about that before. But in reading this, I see that, they advertise, typically, try to stir up emotions to get people to take action.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the things they say are accurate and true, and sometimes they're not.
Or they're misleading.
Yes. But that's their whole motive.
Yeah.
And I thought about that with you, is that I bet it doesn't reach you the way that they hope it would.
Right.
And sounds like that's accurate.
Yeah. Some products, it's not necessarily the products that I like. The commercials themselves are sometimes they're catch my attention, and I like what I see in them, not necessarily for the product itself.
Right.
And that will happen. It's not.
Well, sometimes commercials are funny.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Some of them are just so ridiculous or over the top or whatever.
And
Old Spice. Look at your man and they'll look back at me. Look at your man and they'll look back at me.
Yeah, it's just funny. And then at Christmas time,
I
always look for Budweiser with
geez.
the Clydesdale horses.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Those are some of the coolest commercials. Those horses are beautiful. And which, by the way, Clydesdale, I don't know if I said this before or not, that I was with my parents and my brother when I was little at Knott's Berry Farm,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody spooked the Clydesdale horses.
Oh my gosh.
And they busted loose and they were running towards us, and my dad put me in his arms, and the horse got knocked down to the ground, and he was on his elbows with me underneath him, and the Clydesdales stepped over him, but he had slobber and stuff all, he was a mess. A lady fell into the pig pen, trying to, knocked over in the pig's pen.
Yeah.
But that's pretty amazing. So, it's pretty cool that my dad saved me.
Yeah.
But that these big, big horses have the dexterity to be able to step over people that, you know what I mean? Because they could have just stepped on Grandpa.
And I think that had they not been the Clydesdales that were trained there and everything and raised there as they were, they might not have had the ability to do so or cared to.
I don't know.
Because I know that there are horses and herds of horses that will trample. Not on purpose, they just do.
Yeah. I just think horses are so beautiful and so majestic. But anyway, those horses I look forward to seeing at Christmas time, because they always come up with, new commercials and so that those are nice. But so anyway, so that's all I wanted to talk about about that. With that.
Commercials don't work great with me.
Because it's kind of like people do things. Kind of like you get a message and then we do things. We take action, and we will do things. But for you, it's got to be logical. It's got to make sense for you to do it.
Even if it doesn't necessarily make sense outside of me, if there's almost all the time, there is a very good reason for me to be doing something.
Mm-hmm. Right, and what I think about that is that it's not always what the messenger is trying to convey.
Right. Right.
Because you're very separate from that, and you're able to really form your own opinions rather than being swayed, which is what they want you to do, which is what their job is,
right.
Which is why, they pay so much to be on, for the commercials, and they only have a short period of time, And so they have agencies that write the commercials for them that are going to grab the most attention.
Yeah, and it, along the same lines, is what newscasters do. Or even newspapers.
Mm-hmm.
Is
It's a headline.
the headline. It's called the headline for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's to grab your attention and make you want to read the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's...
Have you ever done that? Have you ever seen something and you look at it and you're like, oh. Like they made it sound like it's something like, oh, I don't want to see that.
I've seen that before, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a lot, that's what newspapers and newscasters have evolved, I guess, into doing.
Yes, that's true.
Is that instead of the most important information being what's shown, it is what will grab the most attention.
Right, yeah. I agree with that. Well, listen, that's all that I've got to say on this subject.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's a thought that I had before we end this and everything is that you had said there's almost I think you didn't use the word disconnect, but something like that between what the commercial people are intending
mm-hmm.
versus what I see.
Mm-hmm.
It's in programming. There's several different languages that can be used, and a lot of the times they are not compatible.
Mm-hmm.
If they do have to transfer, if someone has to do Apple product versus Windows product,
okay,
or Microsoft product, they're two different systems, and they have to use another program to be able to transfer something to one
mm-hmm.
to the other.
Right.
As a comparison, what's the word? Comparison or whatever. I'm like Windows versus the commercials are like Apple
mm-hmm.
products. It's not coming across the way that the other intends.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not compatible.
Typically speaking, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I get it.
Mm.
So, yeah, it's one of those things that I thought that I knew about you, but but we've never really talked about it before. Yeah. So, yeah, that's really cool. Oh, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us again.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. And check us out on SonyaKing.com. It's SonyaKing.com. Go to the Just Stuff page. We try to put new stuff up all the time. And I got a new comedy schedule. If you go to the comedy page, if you're in this area, and other places, it's starting to fill up. And so I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, let me know. If you're going to come to a show, let me know. Because love to meet you and see you face to face. So that'd be cool. Anyway, so I hope you're happy and you're healthy out there. And we will speak with you next week. Love you.
Bye.